Hello everyone, and welcome to Craftamari Alpha 5. It is the 2-year anniversary of Alpha 4, and I figured it's about time I did something. So a little backstory is, I originally planned to do a whole bunch of YouTube videos at the start of this year, but I got sick with COVID, have had an extreme cough, which still isn't gone, but I'm hoping it won't be a problem in this episode. So instead of doing that, I spent 9 torturous days updating this mod from 1.16.4 all the way up to 1.19.3. It sucked a lot. It was the most frustrating thing. Like, doing one version would have been bad enough, and getting to 1.17 was pretty straightforward, and I decided, 1.18 looks easy. Like, the guides and everything that Forge put out said, like, oh, there's not that many changes. So I started that. There was a lot more changes than they said. It was really hard. And then I figured once I got to 1.18, I might as well go to 1.19 because it also didn't sound that bad. And once again, there was a few extra things they didn't mention that broke. It was a lot of work. Now, the problem is that all that work kind of put me out of the mood of making big features, and I did have big plans for Alpha 5. So most of the stuff in this is actually just the stuff that I finished 2 years ago. I added a few small things which are nice, a few that are related to it being in 1.19 now, things that couldn't be done in previous versions for whatever reason. But here we are. I'm wanting to release this now so that then I can have Alpha 6 be a 1.19 or 1.20 if it comes out, focused update with all the ideas that might be related to that. But anyway, I do have a changelog on my other screen, so I'm going to be kind of going through it. It's a completely random order. I just want to go in the changelog so I don't forget anything, and hopefully I didn't forget to put anything on the changelog. But yes, so the first thing I added was corrupt doors and orange doors, which are nice. I like how they're falling apart. So you get corrupt stuff from corrupt wood. Corrupt wood comes from blight stuff being nearby wood, or from creepers exploding. That's the two main ways to get corrupt wood or corrupt wood related items. Orange wood is obviously just from orange trees. I also added obsidian trapdoors, both unsecure, which lets you use your hand, and secure, which works like iron, where you need redstone to do it. I really like these. I just like obsidian stuff in general. It was one of the big motivations for Craftamari, so I'm always happy to add more obsidian stuff, even though it is kind of hard to make it look good. But coming up here, hopefully I pronounce it right. This is cassava or cassava. I have no idea. Point is, it's a plant. You grow it from cuttings. So the interesting thing about growing it from cuttings is that you can harvest this like normal with your hands to get a cassava, or if you want to make more, you use shears. It goes down a couple stages in growth and you get a cutting. So this lets you make as many as you want without breaking the plant, which I think is a nice feature, and I might use it for more plants in the future because I do think it's a really nice idea. So it gives you raw cassava, which is poisonous, similar to a poisonous potato. You can't actually cook it yet. This is one of the things we lost due to me being burnt out from the 3 version upgrade in 9 days, but you're going to be able to boil it in the future. I've got the block model for the boiler thing, but the interface doesn't let you cook anything yet. So that's unavailable, but it is available in the creative menu, so it exists. I thought I'd include it. Next up, we have cabbages. The graphics for these aren't done, but I don't know how to make it look good. Honestly, I liked the idea of having a block of cabbage, but I don't know where to go for this. You use cabbage seeds, obviously. Don't really need those. These are green onions. They're just a food. You can find them. I guess I should mention where they spawn. I don't know the exact biomes, but all these just kind of spawn in the world very rarely. Probably not quite as rare as strawberries are, and we'll get to strawberries later, but yeah. Cassava will be in like more tropically warm areas. Cabbage appears alongside water in like rivers and oceans and beaches, I think. And then green onion, it doesn't have to be near water when it spawns, so it can be in the middle of other places. I don't have a list of biomes. One of the things we lost in moving to 1.19 is my old biome code, which was based on temperature and precipitation, and it would automatically decide which biomes plants went in just based on their stats. But now I have to hard code it, and it's not as intuitive to me. But then we have gooseberry bushes. They're like sweetberry bushes, but they don't hurt if you walk through them. They still slow you down. And, I mean, you harvest them and get gooseberries. It's basically the same concept. You can plant the gooseberries. I like them. They appear in forests. So if you're in a forest, you might find them. They're not as rare as the other ones. So you're more likely to find them, because I just like the idea of a bush that doesn't hurt you. It's just really annoying. I like bushes as a plant concept for farming, but getting hurt by them was so frustrating when I played in whatever version they came out in that I just had to add that. Next up, we have fruit salad. I think it's just a bowl with 8 salads. No, 8 salads. It's a bowl with 6 fruits. Any fruit will work. So you can use oranges, you can use strawberries. I believe you can use apples. I'm probably forgetting, sweet berries. I'm probably still forgetting one. Point is, you can use fruit. I've kind of gotten off on my changelog here, though. I've just been going down the list there. We have some stuff that's not here. Some things I'm just going to be reading off because they're not really worth showing. For example, skewbald chickens now have a chance of randomly dropping a feather. It's a third the chance of dropping an egg, and it doesn't reduce the egg drop rate or anything. It's not like a replacement. It's in addition to it. If you turn a skewbald chicken into a midnight chicken, it will still drop feathers, but at a reduced rate. The idea behind this is I like the idea of getting feathers without killing animals, and you don't have to in real life, so why should you have to in Minecraft, right? So I really like that, giving the skewbald chicken a purpose for existence. So another change for chickens, stormy chickens, if they get hit by lightning, it heals them to full health. The fire will still kill them, but since it's usually raining when there's lightning, it'll go out. I also gave them half a heart more health, which I just figured it might help them survive the fire a little more. If a normal chicken gets hit by lightning, it has a 2% chance of converting into a stormy chicken. And when stormy chickens get hit by lightning, they become powered, which... Did I add stormy chickens in this version? The changelog doesn't actually say, but... You know, it's kind of sounding that way. Actually, you know what? This is a good chance to show off this, because this isn't in the changelog, but we now have a tab for all Craftamari stuff. And where is Stormy Chicken? There we go. So yeah, that's Stormy Chicken there. It can get hit by lightning. It's just going to walk away, though. Oh, this is fortuitous. So one of the things I added was there's a 50% chance he will have a extra trade that is a selection of Craftamari items. Some that are hard to get, like Picandra saplings, extremely rare. This is a very good trade. That's why it's worth 10. Part of the reason I added this is it gives you a way to get a lot of the seeds and blocks that might be hard to get, and especially if you're in an existing world that was generated before you had Craftamari. It also just makes the Wandering Trader a little less annoying if he actually has a use. But now I'm going to have to murder him, so let me get a sword here. We will use a Dragonstone sword, even though it's not the strongest thing in the world. Get out of here. It is lucky he showed up, though. I was going to have to spawn one. But the noise they make is annoying. Anyway, we were on Stormy Chickens, which I don't know if they are new to this version. I'm a bit out of sorts here. But yeah, that's what they look like when charged. He's going to die because of the fire, because it's not raining, but if you hit them, you will get hit by the lightning, which is fun. And I have an idea to expand on them in the future, but that's what they do now. I just think it's a fun little idea and a good use of the Stormy Chicken texture that we got from Minecraft Earth, I believe, is what it was called. Anyway, next up we have Poison Extract right here. This is, let me read, where is it here? Okay, you craft 9 poisoned potatoes together, so they finally have a good use. And you can combine it with a spider eye, a puffer fish, a lily of the valley, and a wither rose to make blight dust. And blight dust, which, did I even put? I think maybe blight dust was added in a previous version, but basically you just use it on a block and it turns that block into a corrupt variant. And this was just my way of making a way to actually obtain it. So yeah, you can see there we got stuff. So that's a craftable way to get blight dust. If you can't find blight water for whatever reason, this gives you a way to get there using only vanilla items. And once you get creep, then you can turn creepers into core reapers, and from there you can convert all sorts of things super fast, as long as you don't mind blowing them up. Anyway, back to my list. Next up, oh, this is a fun one. Spawn eggs, balloon squids. This was a completely random, dumb idea I had. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, these are balloon squids. They fly. That's basically all they do, except they give loot sacks, which are over here. When you kill them, a loot sack has no gravity. It will slow down though. So yeah, they drop those. They don't have a use yet. Obviously, I know there's going to be a use for a floating item. There's just got to be, but I don't have a use. I just think it's a fun idea. I kind of want to craft a balloon entity that you attach like a lead, and it just kind of bounces around off a fence post or something. That was where this idea originally came from for this, but I'm not there yet. But these guys are fun. If you hurt them, they do run away. Getting the AI right for these was very difficult, but I'm very happy. I wanted them to be rare, though, so they actually have a very unique spawning method. I couldn't figure out a way to make the natural generation spawn them rare enough, so instead, anytime you breed an animal and a baby is born, there's a chance they will spawn in the sky way above you. And also, anytime you sleep in a bed, it will have a chance. I think it's only at night when it actually resets the day. I'll have to check the code on that. But yeah, so every once in a while you might see one up in the sky, and you could shoot it with an arrow and go get the loot sack. I'm thinking about making these take longer to despawn, but I haven't done that in Alpha 5. Just so you have a chance to get them. Also, because it's just cool having an item floating around in the air. I think that's a really fun concept, and I'm glad the game just allows that. That's just a setting I can turn on. And then I tamp down their motion a little bit so they don't go flying off 100 blocks away the second you kill a balloon squid. All right, so that's balloon squids. Just a dumb, fun idea. I really like them. They're one of my favorite things in this update. All right, next up, though, ashen cows. So these cows, they can eat grass. I don't know if we'll get them to eat grass on camera, but you just right-click them, I think? Yeah, you right-click them, and they give ashes, and then they have to eat grass again in order to give you more ashes, which is pretty cool. It's a way to get ashes. Ashes can be crafted into the ash block, which is like a sand type block. It's just a fun little thing, a way to have unlimited ash. I really like the idea of making farms for stuff that traditionally couldn't be farmed. And that is where a lot of my stuff comes in. All right, so next up, after ashen cows... Oh, I guess I should say how to get them and the other details about them. They're immune to magma blocks, which are those little hot blocks you can stand on. And there's a 2% chance of getting them when you breed cows in the nether. And that does mean you can't get dairy cows in the nether, which previously were the 2% chance in any world, but now not. So the next thing is these sunset cows here. These are another way of getting a new item. So how you get them is if you breed cows during sunset, there's a 2% chance it will be a sunset cow. And if they eat grass during sunset while under open sky, they will have a chance of dropping leather. And in order to qualify for that, they have to eat grass at least once during the daytime before they can drop leather at sunset. And that's just so that they can't like eat grass 20 times during one sunset and drop a ton of leather. So they have to have access to grass all day and then eat it at the right time, and they will drop leather. So basically the idea is that you'd use a hopper farm because you're not going to be able to do things any other way for these guys. But yeah, I don't know. They were called sunset cows, so I gave them something to do at sunset. And just like the feathers, it's like, I don't really want to kill cows to get leather. It doesn't make much sense that they drop leather, but the idea is like they eat the grass and like grow a new layer of skin. They refresh at sunset or something. You can have your own explanation of how it works, but that is how it works in my games. The next one, we're going to have to go over to the water show off. This is another one I'm quite proud of, one where I actually made the graphics for them instead of just taking it from Minecraft Earth. And this is sea cows. The pun is strong. So yeah, these guys can walk underwater. Getting the AI for them like swimming up and around was actually harder than you would think. It's been 2 years or so, so I don't actually really remember the details. But yeah, they have to be in water. They will begin to take damage if they're out of water for too long. And they're apparently kind of stupid and just wander around. I don't remember the AI for them, if they'll run to water or what, but they like it in the water. And let me read about them. Yeah, so you breed them if the parents are in the water currently. So if they're swimming when you breed them, there's a chance. Or if they're in an ocean biome, and those chances do combine. So if they're swimming in an ocean biome, you will have the highest chance of getting a sea cow. Eating grass does rehydrate them, so they can wander around as long as they have access to grass. And let me see. They also contain the genetics of their parents. So if we get the inspector wand, which I added to here, it previously wasn't in there, but now that I got my own tab, it just appears in that tab. So yeah, if you look, it's considered a normal variant, but since it's part of my mod cow things, I should be able to summon a sea cow at my location, and we will say, I think it's type, and we can say it's a sunset cow. And if we scan that there, it's a sunset cow. And it's just a genetic thing because my mod allows different variants of mobs to breed together. And when you have 2 different variants, the genetics play a part in what you might get out of them. All right, and I guess we should say what they're good for. They're actually a water source, which I think is funny. Not a huge use for that, but, you know. Okay, you can't see it because I don't have a spot. Well, it's making a noise. Point is, it gives water. Maybe it's because I'm in creative mode, or maybe I already have water in there. That's probably why. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that's a fun thing. I think they probably need to be hydrated to get water. Let me see. Oh yeah, they breed using kelp instead of wheat. Okay, yeah, if they're in a warm, dry location, they will need to eat grass to produce more water. But if they're not, then they should, I think, just produce unlimited water. So yeah, it's just a funny little thing. I mostly made them just for the pun of sea cow, and also just because it is cool to have something in the water. I'm very happy with them, though. Balloon squids and sea cows, like, overall, I'm really enjoying adding new mobs. I like all the mobs I've added, you know, the undead fish, the cur reaper. Okay, these guys are so annoying. I'm gonna back away. The inspector wand, I guess I can say, it does 1.5 parts of damage now, just because sometimes I want to kill something and I don't feel like getting a sword, so it still takes forever to kill anything with 1.5, but it's better than punching. Anyway, back to what we're doing. All right, modeled pigs. So that's this pig here. I think he's actually gotten bigger since we've last seen him. We can't use a spawn egg for them, but I will spawn a new one. So I don't have spawn eggs for everything yet because I was trying to be fancy with my variant code, and unfortunately it makes spawn eggs not as good. But yeah, so the thing about the modeled pig is it grows bigger over time, and it drops more pork chops based on how big it is. The original version of Craftamari in like 1.08 or whatever it was, I had size changing code where you could change any entity, including players, to be bigger or smaller. I was really proud of that code. It's completely lost, sadly. But this is my modernization of that idea to give these pigs a point. So basically, you breed them, you wait until they get real big, and then you kill them and you get a lot of pork chops. And it's also just nice to have variety. How do you get them, though? It doesn't actually say how to get them. I assume it's probably just like a 2% breeding chance, as it is for most of mine. If not, I'll have to fix it to be that way. But anyway, just a random thing completely listed is now Blight air source blocks will despawn randomly if they are next to or under a non-solid block. It basically means nothing. Blight air is practically unavailable. It barely even works right. But it's in my list, so I have to say it. Alright. Blight air will be a big thing in the future. Right now, there's still some issues with the Fluid API in Forge. They say that they added things, but they didn't, so that's a problem. Alright, so next up we got pressure plates. This is the slate pressure plate. I can stand on it, nothing happens. It's a problem. So what we need to do is get more power. I hadn't decided how I was going to handle this, but I think we'll just be lazy and do this. Let me get a spawn egg. We can drop in, I don't know. Who do we want to put in there? Needs to be someone who just stands around. We'll put in a midnight chicken. We've not seen one of them today. All right, so there's midnight chicken. He doesn't press it, but we both together press it. So yeah, the slate pressure plate requires 2 entities to press it. You can also be riding an entity. So if you're on a pig or a horse or whatever, it will trigger this. I liked this idea. This idea was inspired by me wanting to have automatic fence gates on my house, but then my animals kept triggering them and getting out. So with this, it reduces the chances. But we can go further than that. So next up, we have the Dragonstone pressure plate. It only works for players. See? That is the ultimate. But you do need Dragonstone to get it, which is definitely hard to get. But yeah, I really like that. Next up, we have the Pumice one. Also doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for chicken. Now, it doesn't spawn the right baby chicken there, but if there's only babies on there, it will press. I never did fix that. I intended to fix this, but I didn't. It's not a big deal. I'll fix it eventually. Spawn eggs were kind of a last-second addition because they revised that in 1. Whatever, something beyond 1.16. So it was not an original feature. Part of why I don't have them all yet. Anyway, yeah, I like that as well, just because it could help you sort out babies. And since it doesn't work when an adult's on it, it would mean that you could activate something that like pushes the baby somewhere. I don't know how you'd do it, really. It's probably future things that we can figure out in the mod. Anyway, continuing on down the list, next up we have this, Music Disc Alpha. It's the credits song. I really like Alpha. It's kind of a mix of a whole bunch of the old Minecraft songs together. You probably can't hear it very well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that song. I'm going to stop it though, because I haven't checked my audio settings that well, and I don't want to be overwhelming my voice. You get it by crafting 13 and Cat together, which are the two like basic original discs you find in dungeons. I usually end up with too many of those, so I figured I'd at least give them a use. So at least the first 2 extras you get, well, the first 2 of each ones are useful, because then you have 1 of each, and then you craft Alpha. And the song's already in the game, since it's the credits song, so why not have a music disc for it? I really like it. It's also very long. It's like 10 minutes. So yeah, you play this, it's going to be playing a while. All right, we got another mob, though. These are slime sheep, which honestly, I don't remember making this green, but I guess I did. So slime sheep, you can shear to give slime wool. Admittedly, I haven't tested this in a while. It didn't work, I think. No, I think it's just a chance. I don't actually know. Let me read about it. It might also just not be working. Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into that. This isn't the release version of the mod. I haven't uploaded that. Not that there's anyone around to play it, because it's for Patreon only. And I don't have any Patreon users that want to play on Minecraft, or at all. So that's a bit of an issue. At some point, this will be a public mod, though. That's when I have to actually be good. But yeah, they give slime wool, which we will look into. But slime wool bounces. It's very nice. I like bouncy stuff. All right. Let's see, what else we got? Right, quartz sandstone. I honestly don't remember why I added this. I mean, it's a nice looking block, don't get me wrong. maybe I was going to use it in world generation. I might have a text file somewhere that says my specific plans for this block, but I do like it. It looks nice. But quartz sandstone is made from 8 soundstone surrounding a nether quartz. And you can blast smelt it into quartzite, but I don't think we have blast smelting. I think that was the thing I was going to add, not a vanilla feature. I know there's a smelter block or something, right? Smithing table. I don't know. I think that's something I was going to add. I'm not entirely sure why I wanted people to be able to make quartzite out of it, because quartzite isn't that rare, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. There's always the potential for future uses. Next up is end flowers, which we have right here. You find them in the end. I don't think they're too rare, but you know, probably a little rare. You can bone meal them to produce more, and they're less likely to make flowers if there's flowers nearby. So you want to have like one and then bone meal it until it spawns, and then grab that, keep it up so you can't just spam forever. They can be used to make levitation potions, which give you the shulker levitation effect where you lift up in the sky, which I think is just a fun little thing to have available. After that, we have, and this is another thing where I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but we have Batalayite ore, which gives you Batalayite. There's a deep slate variant I added yesterday or so, up a few days ago, because it does generate low enough down for that to be a thing. And yeah. The idea is you will be able to use a crusher to turn Batalayite into zirconia, which will turn into cubic zircon, which will be like an artificial diamond. But the crusher is another thing that was lost in me not feeling like working on it. So that'll probably be Alpha 6 that Batalayite gets a use. I do hope to get that in, though, because the crusher is a cool idea. It will allow for renewable sand, because you'll be able to probably turn stone into cobblestone, into gravel, into sand, or something along those lines. That's the idea. It's going to be a fun little block once I add it. All right, what's next? Warped wart. It's right here. Yeah, this is just it's just warped wart. It's just a green version, because they had all the other things in the warped biomes in the nether, but not this, so I added this. What does it say? It grows in warped nylium and soul sand or soil. It's found in the warped forest biome. Right now, its only use is to make the block out of it. The warped, I don't know what the block is called, but it's like warped nylium block or whatever it is. That's its main purpose. It's just a way to farm those, and it grows there, so it's nice. It's just a nice little thing. I wanted to add things to the nether. There's not many ideas I have for the nether because they added so much to it, and my brain hasn't had time to think of any big additions that are within my capabilities. But we do have another one, which is the glow shroom, which I had to shade with tinted glass because it doesn't like light, even though it produces light. But yeah, this is just a mushroom. It produces a light level of 8, spreads like a normal mushroom. If you use bone meal on it, it can make a shroom light. Well, it becomes a shroom light. So you actually have to be careful. If you find only one of them, you don't want to let it turn into a shroom light. And it also has a low chance of growing into a shroom light if it's on mycelium and protected from sunlight. So it does spawn in 2 biomes, which is the nether wastes in the nether and the mushroom fields biome in the regular world. Although it's somewhat rare on mushroom fields. Although I've had pretty good luck finding it in my tests. So who's to say, really? But if you do go to a mushroom fields biome, you'll want to check it all fast, because there's that risk that it might turn into a thingamabob. I think it can also spawn in the caves there too, where it'd be protected from the light, where it might turn into a shroom light before you ever find it. That's an issue. All right, next up, we have these. This is something I wanted to add for a long time. This is petrified wood. If I ever get around to adding an alternate dimension, this will be a big, important thing. There'll be like biomes of petrified trees. But for now, this is just something that you can't even obtain it, I think. Yeah, because it's blast smelting, corrupt logs or wood would be the way to obtain it in the regular world. But I haven't added blast smelting. I can't remember if the trader has it or not. He might. But you can combine it with bones to make tools, as well as a bone version of the Macahoidal or whatever. It's been so long I can't remember the pronunciation of it. But yeah, they're all cool. You can see. Oh, it's not called that. It's petrified. Yeah, petrified. It has two names, and for some reason I put petrified sword, but it has an official name that I made up. But yeah, that's the stats for it. It's pretty cool. I'm really happy with that idea, and I hope I get to make the biome for it at some point. But for now, this is what it is. All right, next up, we have Warpstone, which is this stuff. This is an idea I'm really happy about. It was inspired by a creeper hitting my house. And I will kind of show you that it might be hard to show it in action, but here we go. All right, that was good. I think that block reappeared immediately. So yeah, basically, if you break it with hand, except in creative mode, it doesn't work. But if you break it by hand or tool or with an explosion, the block teleports to another world. There's actually an invisible block here, but you can place over it. So if you place a block over it, it won't come back ever. But if you don't, then it will randomly come back. So the idea is your house could get hit by a creeper and your house will come back. Obviously, if I want this to be a big thing, we need to add more color variants of it. You need to be able to dye it. But for now, we just got the one. It's a basic idea, but I'm really happy with how this works. The idea of my house rebuilding itself after an explosion is just amazing. I love it. I've never seen anything in a mod like this either. So how you make it is an ender pearl and 3 stone. And you can silk touch it to get it back. That's the only way to actually get it back. You can destroy it by placing a block over it, but to actually get it back, silk touch is needed. And then these, oops, that is not the key I want to press. These are warpstone frames. They don't have a use yet. You can charge them with that. Makes them glow a little. Does it say what glow level it is? In case you're curious. Light level 8, so same as the glow shrooms. I will reveal the spoiler that they're probably going to be used in a portal to another world. That is the general idea there. That's why they use chorus fruit, which is from another dimension, to power them up. I just thought it'd be nice to give chorus fruit a good use. And I really like the texture for them. It does look pretty cool. And how are they made? It doesn't say how they're made, honestly. That's unfortunate. I don't know if there is a way to make them. I can confirm that real quick. This is a very unorganized thing that we have here, but all I gotta do is go into my mod information and check if they have a recipe. They do have a recipe. The recipe is, okay, got 2 corners of dragonstone, 2 corners of obsidian, and then the rest of it is warpstone, and it makes 5 warpstone frames. So yeah, the idea is that this is obsidian holding it together. So it is actually the obsidian colors if you get up close. All right, so that's that. I do think it looks cool. That's why it's worth having, even if it doesn't do anything yet. Right, next up was orange signs and boats. This is something that was added specifically because it's a lot easier to do in 1.19 than it was in 1.16. So that's why I didn't have them. I tried really hard to get orange signs in Alpha 5 1.16. It was not working. I didn't even try with boats, but it was pretty easy to add. I haven't decided if I'll add Picandra signs in boats. I've not really done much with Picandra yet because I haven't decided how much I want it to be usable as an actual wood, because I have other plans for it, which are not yet implemented. But it's a thing. And I did say earlier I'd come back to strawberries. So one of the big things for 1.19 was I had to completely redo my world generation changes. So all the things that spawned, a lot of them are going to spawn at slightly different rates and slightly different biomes. I tried to get it to where it was equal to or more common than before, because a lot of things were a little rare before. But the testing isn't thorough, so hopefully I didn't mess anything up. There's always room for more, and that is, of course, why the trader has the items. But that is a little thing to note, that things are slightly different now. There were some things that were very hard. It took me a long time to get certain things working. But overall, I think it's turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Next up, this is another thing I tried to add in 1.16, and I don't know why it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't. I couldn't get ores to work generating in the nether, which you would think would be easy because there's nether quartz back then, and there's netherite and all that. This is an outdated texture. It will be updated at some point. I just didn't feel like doing it for this because this ore has no purpose yet. The original plan was to have Onyx be the thing above Diamond, but then Netherite came out because this is a thing from 1.08, the original lost version of Craftamari. I do like the idea of adding more ores to the Nether, so I'm doing it anyway. And my current idea is that you might combine this with Battleite and Dragonstone to make like something better than Netherite. That's like the long-term idea, but I don't know when I'll add it. For now, it's important to have it in the game just so it generates. That's why I'm adding a lot of things that don't have full uses yet. I think if I have an idea and it involves world generation, it's better to get the world generation in first. The idea can come later because you do not want to have a huge world and have to go thousands of blocks away just to generate something that actually has whatever ore you want. And I've actually got another ore I'm wanting to add in Alpha 6, silver ore, which I'm thinking I might put down in the deep slate layer. And that is part of the reason. I guess I was going to talk about this and I forgot at the start of this video. This is, if you're this far in the video, you obviously care about all my opinions and all these things. So I'll just say, so the big reason why we got this 2-year delay is originally back when I was working on Alpha 5, we got the news about the 1.17 update where they were going to make the world deeper and taller. And that got me really excited. Just the idea of having more space underground and more tall mountains and things. Like, it sounded amazing. It sounded really fun. But it also sounded like it would break my mod, which honestly 1.17 didn't, because they didn't include that stuff in 1.17. It was 1.18. So I waited for 1.17. It didn't happen. I think Forge also took a while to update to 1.17, if I remember correctly. It was 2 years ago or something. I don't remember. But basically, with all that going on, I held off on working anymore because I didn't want to waste time making stuff that was going to break. And then it came out and it didn't have the things I was waiting for. So I was like, well, now I have to wait for 1.18. By the time 1.18 came out, things in my life were kind of crazy. And it had been so long, like modding Minecraft wasn't something. And plus, having to upgrade 2 versions in a row just to make one random idea I have on a whim, that's a lot of work. It's a lot easier to just randomly work on it when it's already up to date, which is why I did this 1.19 update, so I can just randomly work whenever I have motivation. But yeah, that's how we got to 2 years. And it's just pure luck I caught COVID and didn't have anything to do. I was feeling really unproductive, and I decided to just go for it. And I'm happy with where it turned out. Having this in 1.19 is fun. I've not played Minecraft much in the past 2 years. And by much, I mean, like, we're talking minutes, not hours. So it'll be nice to have a chance to set up a server again and actually play once I get a few more features added, like silver ore and stuff in Alpha 6. Because I want to have things a little more functional before I really get into a server with this mod again. But yeah, so that's where we're at there. Anyway, we'll go back to the things. I've got spawn eggs on the list. We've already seen them multiple times. I don't have them all because of my variant code, which I'll fix in Alpha 6. But we have the creeper egg, midnight chicken, stormy chicken, all the fun undead fish, which they might be rare. That's one of the things I couldn't get more common. Like, literally, I put the generator for that thing on its maximum setting with the new system, which is a lot more limiting, and it barely generated at all. Like, I think the chances of finding one in a river is almost 0, and in the ocean it's really hard. But the spawners for them do still spawn, and I think fish and Blightwater will turn into them. But the spawner's the fun part, because you'd just be walking along a river and one would come out. So that might be something I have to revisit in the future to make them actually spawn. I might have to set it up as a structure for the river biome. I don't know much about structures yet. So that's something we'll have to look into in the future. But yeah, we lost a lot of the flexibility that we had in world generation stuff. It's a lot easier. Like, admittedly, like, I'll probably be able to add things to villages a lot easier now, and a whole lot of other things are a lot easier, but it's also more restrictive. And that was a restriction that really hit me hard. Yeah, sea cows, the forest spider, and the balloon squid. The balloon squid's the only one where you get different variants from the spawn egg. I had to special code that. I decided not to have, like, the albino forest spider spawn from that, because that's supposed to be a rare variant, and you don't get rare variants from other ones, I don't think, really. Like, you're not going to get... They had that rabbit that would, like, attack you. You don't get that from a rabbit egg or whatever. So I left that alone. But yeah, we'll get the other eggs in the future. The collars were just kind of randomly chosen. I decided to go consistent for the fish just so you could tell them all. I'm not really paying much attention if they conflict with existing eggs. And some of them are pretty close. Like, I know the spider one is almost exactly the same, just a little darker. Not a big deal. There's too many eggs to remember them by color anyway. All right, we've only got one last thing in my list of major changes, which is the dying grass, which if we're lucky... No, it hasn't happened yet. But we can probably make it happen. Random tick speed, 3000. That might do it. Come back to that. Oh, yeah. So, basically, dying grass, if you stomp on it, it should... Yeah, there it goes. It turns into coarse dirt, which I think if you stomp on it, it should turn into regular dirt, maybe. I don't remember. I went through multiple ideas. I'm not saying like it should be coded that way. This is how I coded it, but I might change my mind on the coarse dirt. But the idea is that now Creep will turn grass that's next to it into this stuff. And that way it can spread, but only if you mess it up. So it will turn neighboring grass into dying grass, but the only way for dying grass to become coarse dirt, which would let the creep spread, is there's 3 things you can do. You can either sprint on it, and I think cats sprinting on it will work too. I don't think any other animal technically counts as sprinting when they're moving fast. So just cats and players can sprint over it and cause damage. And then jumping on it, as we've seen. And also, if you ride on it with an animal, or if anything rides on it with any animal, and there you can see it's turned to that one. Yeah, if you ride on it with any animal, then it will have a very high chance of trampling it and turning into coarse dirt. Or if like a skeleton archer does, or anything. The idea is, I didn't like how Creep didn't spread, and also didn't like it bordering grass and just being fine, so this gives it a border, this gives it a way to spread, but the spread is mostly in control of the player, because that's a big thing in Minecraft for me. One of my early YouTube videos was like 150 Endermen destroying a landscape. That's because when Enderman came out, I was very annoyed that they grief the world with no player input. Like, creepers, they grief the world, they're annoying, but they only blow up if it's your fault. Nothing else would happen to the world before Enderman that wasn't directly caused by the player or just like a chain reaction at the start of generation. And I liked that. So Enderman ruined that, and I've kind of tried to strike a balance here where it can spread, and I'll probably someday add a game rule where it can spread, you know, automatically, like it has a low chance of just going on top of the grass, the dying grass specifically, so that you would have to control it. It's pretty rare to run into in the world, so it's not like you end up with a world constantly covered, but you would have to fight it. That would be a fun game rule, I think. But I don't have game rules yet. I had like 1 or 2 settings. I think I had like a no spider setting, I think. And I don't even know if that still works. It's an old version. I'm going to have to make a better settings file at some point. But anyway... So what else we got? We only got the minor things left. Apparently the lobster cage icon was wrong. It's right now. I turned Stormy Chickens into a separate ID. We'll be doing that with all the variants at some point. And the Dragonstone Hoe had incorrect stats, which as a weapon stats specifically. So if you're insane enough to waste a Dragonstone making one, which is pretty much pointless, there's no reason to have a Dragonstone Hoe. But if you do and use it as a weapon and waste it, it'll have the right hit amount now. Endermen can now pick up non-snowy pebbles, which I think is fine. It's kind of a fun thing for them to move around. Much better than the other things they pick up, in my opinion. There's an effect icon for the corrupt effect, which I don't know how we would go about showing that. Oh, there's potions of corruption. That would do it. Yeah, there. You won't be able to get this in survival gameplay, but it looked dumb not having one whenever you get it if you hacks it in, so I added an icon for it. Why not? Oh, right. I don't know why this isn't the minor one. This is kind of a major one, honestly. glowstone dust, and corrupt dirt. So one of the things was that I didn't like was once you got corrupt dirt, there was no way to do anything about it. So now you can, here, it's going fast because the ticks thing, I'll get rid of that. No, it's random tick speed, back to 3. All right, so yeah. Now you can do that. When you're not in creative mode, there's a 10% chance it will use up the glowstone. Like having it 1-to-1 seemed a bit useless. So yeah, there is a potential thing if I add like a corrupt dimension that I would have purifying it be kind of a goal. So this is the start of the idea of purifying stuff. I've got future ideas beyond that, but this at least lets you turn corrupt dirt back if you need dirt. And like if you were doing a, what is it, this Sky Island challenge thing. I can't remember what the name of it is, but the one where you're on a little island and you have a few items. If it turned into corrupt stuff, that would be bad. So that lets you get out of that, technically. Blight dust can now be used on water. We'll grab some blight dust. So blight dust is like the opposite of that. So it'll turn it into the corrupt variant. And I guess now it should work on water. Yeah, there it goes. It makes polluted water. Hooray. Also, polluted water, it now has different appearance. One of the things that changed in 1.19 was the appearance of fluids and stuff. It's just really hard, actually. But now we have like green fog when you're in that, and look why it says blue fog. Blight air also has green fog, but we won't talk about blight air anymore because I don't like it yet. What else? All right, I improved the hitboxes for all the mobs. Like the forest spiders, especially, they had a really tall hitbox. Like it was like 5 times their height. I only noticed it because I put a name tag on them, and at first I thought the name tag didn't work, but it's actually just so high up you couldn't see it whenever you were looking down at the tiny little spider. I made forest spiders immune to sweetberry bush damage. I think I already mentioned that. Maybe not. I mentioned sweetberry bushes at least. Podzol, if that's the correct pronunciation, it can now corrupt into corrupt dirt and empowered corruption effects. So if you have like a charged Creeper or actual blight water, I think that's the only 2 empowered ones right now. Maybe blight dust is empowered too. I don't know. It's not a well-defined thing, but you can turn dirt paths into creep. It's a chance though. Like anytime you convert anything it's considered grass-like, it has a chance of making dirt, a lower chance of making green creep, and an even lower chance of making blue creep. So yeah, it's just dirt paths, which used to be grass paths, are now included in that set because they have grass on them. Blight ice now melts faster when it's next to a bright light source, and also in the nether, it will turn into blight air. So that is how you get blight air. I don't really recommend messing with blight air right now. It doesn't do anything good. You can't use it for anything. I have to add blight vents for it to be useful, because the idea is the vent will constantly produce blight air. Right now, if you do anything other than having it in a little like upside down hole, so basically if you, I mean, I can spawn some, I guess. I probably showed it off in the last episode. I actually added a blight air bucket, but it doesn't have a graphic yet. But we might as well use it. Oh, I don't have a space for it. That would probably help. So it just uses the liquid bucket. But yeah, that's the only way to actually have it stay there. And it just sits there. If you do anything else with it, it'll last for a little while, but then it just randomly disappears because it's not an unlimited source. It's a source block, but it can't survive, is basically the idea, unless it's like this. It has to have solid things. And the earlier thing was like, if you put like a slab there, I think it would just flow out the slab or something. I mean, it wouldn't flow out the slab and it would just last forever and it didn't look right. So now only full blocks count. I mentioned that earlier, but that is the idea if you didn't understand it at the time. Next one is a very big one, actually, which is that my mod animals make noise significantly less often than standard ones, and they're doing a bad job of it. I didn't want to make it too low, so I could have gone way lower, but they do make noise less often because it's just so annoying and unnecessary for them to make noise like 24/7. So that's just a nice little change I made, and I might make it rare in the future if I like it. Something else that I apparently added, I've not tested this feature in 2 years, which is you can now check if it's a slime chunk, which I'm not going to want around to find a slime chunk, but yeah, if you're not clicking on any block, that's what it'll do. It'll tell you slime chunk. We did lose some biome information, I believe, or something. Part of the 1.19, or was it 1.18? I don't know. Either way, they locked down a lot of biome stuff. Like, I'm not allowed to get biome temperature. The thermometer is actually, I think, kind of buggy right now because I have to like do my own temperature calculations because they won't let you get the temperatures anymore. Like, the code's there, but they say, no, you can't have it anymore. Which I don't get. I don't know why they don't want to let you. Like, the game has temperature data. Why lock it down? It makes no sense. But yeah, I don't have that anymore. I could work harder on it, I guess. I don't know if I will. But yeah, the other thing that I added is if it has a name, it will add the name. So if you like name tag it, it will tell you that. It wasn't really a big deal. I added it when I thought that the forest spiders are bugged. But whatever, it's a thing. Polluted ice can now be obtained with Silk Touch. The speed of creepers has been slightly increased, and by slightly, I mean it's so slightly. Like, you won't really notice it. My idea was just to slightly mess with your muscle memory, just to increase the chance of them exploding, because I think them exploding is fun, honestly. It's not bad as a creeper, because they don't destroy blocks, they just convert certain ones. So I think they're more fun, so I gave them an extra 1 heart of health, and I increased their speed just ever so slightly. Imperceptible unless you are like having a creeper race somehow. Just a little. Just make them a little more fun. And the last change on my changelog is that I made the warden immune to blight / pollution / liquwice stuff. Just because I don't want to be adding things that just unnecessarily make the warden easy to kill. I mean, there's no reason to kill him, but, you know, still. Like, why not? If he's immune to lava, I figure he should be immune to a lot of things. So I made him immune to my stuff. I mean, all the bosses are immune to my stuff, so I'm keeping that going. But that is everything on my changelog. There's a few other things in the game that I didn't put in the creative menu because they're not done. I could show them off, I guess. I mean, if anyone does ever actually play this version of the game, they'd be able to get them. Like, we have the cooking cauldron. I am actually... Oh, I always forget that I have to take items out of my inventory to make room for these. Okay, now it's in my main inventory. It doesn't have a icon there, but it should be visible here. Yeah, I'm really proud of this block model. Obviously, it's just 2 existing block models tied together, but yeah, it's kind of messed up here. The idea is it's a stew pot that you would be able to put 3 different items in. I think I'd be getting rid of parts of this interface. This is just a copy-paste job right here from the banner maker, just because I wanted the 3 slots. But yeah, that's the idea. We'd be able to make various soups and other, you know, boiling related things. Maybe make macaroni and cheese. Who knows? There's a lot of possibilities. I really like adding food. I don't have the graphics. I've been using actually AI to generate food related graphics. The problem is, like, if I've got like a tomato graphic, but I don't have a tomato plant, and the tomato plant, I'm not gonna be able to AI generate that, and I'm gonna struggle to make it myself. Because I want it to grow 2 blocks tall, start out 1 and then grow 2, which will be cool. But, you know, that's whatever. That'll come at some point. I need tomatoes because I'm going to add pizza as well. That's actually something else. It doesn't look very good in-game, though. That's the problem. It looked really good, and this might be the wrong version of the sprite. It's also the wrong size, I realize, which makes me think this is the wrong version of the sprite. I did add the pizza to the game. It doesn't have any food eating stats. It's like the same as a cabbage right now. It's good at composting though, if you want to compost it. What else did I add? Let me get back into here. I don't know if I have much else that is actually worth looking at. Let me just look through here. Oh, we have ceramic glass. I don't know if that's from an old version. That's going to be made from the zirconia or cubic zirconia, something along those lines. I believe it's like more explosion resistant. I really like that idea, but it's not available from crafting yet, as far as I remember, at least. Unless it was something I added in Alpha 4 and it is obtainable, in which case I'm wrong. I don't know. It has been a while. The Diamond Cutter, I don't think the Diamond Cutter does anything yet, but I think that was an Alpha 4 thing. It's definitely in the creative menu. Hopefully the Ender Helmet and Slime Boots aren't new, because they're not in the change log. They feel like a new thing, but maybe they're not. I do really like them. We have Liquware. It doesn't work yet at all. Like, it doesn't even have the air physics that the Blight Air does. It just sits there, so I'm not going to bother generating it. What else do we have? Oh, right, the Netherite Safe. The idea for the Netherite Safe was originally a little different, but I think now, if you don't know about the bundle is an item that's not out yet. We can enable it in 1.19, actually, but you have to do a special setting. But it can hold up to 1 stack of different items. So that means like you could have 32 gold, 32 diamond, or if it maximum stacks to something else, like it does the math. So I think what I'm going to do is whenever bundles actually come out, that'll be the Netherite Safe, but the Netherite Safe will be a bundle that is fireproof and probably like cactus proof and whatever else can destroy items proof, so that it'll be the ultimate safe way to transport a really important item. So that's not going to get added anytime soon unless I decide to just steal the current bundle code and copy paste it into the base game, which I don't know, maybe it'll happen, probably not. Obsidian Furnace is going to be the Blast Furnace, I believe. It does have an appearance, but it doesn't work. Like, when the last time I tried to right-click it, it didn't even do anything. I feel like it used to... Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was that I put stuff in it and it didn't cook. And it might be I don't have blast smelting recipes set up, and that's why it doesn't work. But yeah, that's the idea. You would use Inferno Powder, actually, to blast smelt. That's the idea. So that thing has a use, because Inferno Powder is something from, I don't know how many versions ago, but there's not really much of a point to it. You can craft it, but it's like, I don't know, it's just a fun little thing. It makes a little explosion when it makes a fire. But other than that, like, this will be the use for it, though, and you'll be able to make cool things. We've mentioned a couple blast smelting things in this episode. I think that's probably the last item. I'm not going to scroll through the list anymore, because I'm like 90% sure that's the last upcoming item that was originally planned for Alpha 5, but due to the circumstances, I've decided, it's not worth it. We can check and make sure that the Blight Hair hasn't despawned, because, yeah, that's actually a feature I haven't checked, is to double check that that still works in 1.19. The other thing is these cabbage graphics definitely need to change. I always intended to get somebody to make me some nice ones. I'm happy with the idea of how it looks, it's just I can't make the texture to make it look good. Like, this T-shaped one was never intended to be a thing, and then these leaves were a very failed attempt at making what I actually wanted it to look like. But yeah, that is Alpha 5, as well as a few future things for Alpha 6. I'm very happy with how this mod's going. I don't know how much I'm actually going to work on the mod in terms of time, but having it in 1.19 means if I want to work on the mod, I can, and when 1.20 comes out and Forge updates, I will get on that right away. I've been trying to actually update certain things that I think will break in 1.20 to not break, but I don't actually know. It's completely unpredictable and hard to say. But what I do know is 1.19.3 actually has 1.20 features in it. We can enable camels and like bamboo boats and whatever. So maybe the difference between this version and 1.20 won't be that big. I'm hoping, because, yeah, I'm very excited for camels, but I don't like that they only spawn in villages. But either way, we'll definitely be trying to update to 1.20 when that happens. And at some point in the near future, I'm going to be playing Minecraft again, and that'll probably help me really develop the ideas, because that's where a lot of these ideas came from. Like, these pressure plates, I didn't just brainstorm them. I got them from playing on a server and getting annoyed at not being able to do things. So yeah, I like that my mod is a mix of just random ideas I like, plus like really useful redstone things that I'm never going to use, but now they exist. And it's like, who knows, maybe years from now somebody will use them and it'll be a big deal, but for now they just kind of exist as ideas. And I mean, I would love it if Mojang would take my ideas. I'll ask his little credit in the patch notes, but obviously they've never heard of my mod. They probably never will. But I think I have some pretty good ideas that I think I'm trying to keep things vanilla but expanded, and I think I've done a pretty good job with a lot of things like balloon squids obviously are a bit silly. And when they're far away from you, they sit around a lot because the movement AI disables itself, but then you get close and they all start moving around. That's just a little thing. Quirk of any AI is the AI stop moving when you're far away. Saves on memory, but I might have to tweak it for them so that they don't just rotate in place constantly. Although it is kind of a nice look. And it is like the idea like, oh, they're not scared. They're just sitting there doing whatever it is balloon squids do. I don't know. But yeah, that's Alpha 5. If you stuck around this long, you must be pretty excited about this mod. Geez, this video is about 40 minutes longer than I thought it would be when I went into it. Just looked at how long it's been, and geez, I didn't even add that much. Like, imagine if I'd added all of my ideas. We've been here forever. But yeah, we'll get new texture for that. Hopefully a new texture for the cabbage. We'll get these things working. The crusher, so that we can crush that. And just all the things. Ways to obtain these that's better. It's going to be good stuff. I've got big plans. And hopefully they won't be too hard. It's been an adventure. But yeah, that's enough of that. I've been trying not to cough, and it's kind of hard. So I will see you guys next time, hopefully in less than 2 years for the next update. We will see.